This is Mark Whitten.
This is Adam MacArthur.
This is Ann Yatko.
This is Molly Chung.
Hey everybody, this is Michael Yurchak.
This is Daquan Wilshire.
This is Lexi Nieto.
This is Rico Fajardo, and you're watching.
And you're listening to Spoiler Force Podcast. Set your heart ablaze.
All right, so this is episode 184 of Spoiler Force Podcast. My name is Ricky, and thank you for tuning in. This week's guest, I have my cousin Bobby back on the show to talk about Demon Slayer Season 4. The last time Bobby was on, we talked about the 40-year-old virgin, so we're going to talk about anime now and not just movies. But I love when Bobby's on because like me and Bobby always have a good back and forth, and like we talk about whatever and go on a tangent, so it's always a good time to have Bobby on. But thank you for coming back on and saving this episode, man, because like I've been looking forward to doing Demon Slayer Season 4, especially with that trailer that dropped, which we will talk about towards the end of this episode. We ain't talking about that yet because as much as I want to, we'll wait till at the end. But yeah, man, Demon Slayer Season 4, we'll just jump right into it, dude. I remember I was still living with you when they dropped the Season 4 episode 1 in theaters, and I went to theaters. I came home with that bucket, which I think you guys still have, that popcorn bucket.
We still have it.
Yeah. So that we had that, and when you watch that, Bobby, what did you think of that first episode? Because that was only, I believe that's anime only. That wasn't even in the manga.
Yeah, no, I mean, the first episode, because like I said, I haven't read the manga, so you had to tell me that even that first clip when they were attacking those demons weren't even in the anime or in the manga. So I mean, just the fact that clip alone is what set it off, set off the season and everything. It was really good.
It starts off with Sanemi and Obanai in that they're doing a mission together to save some people in the village, and then like you get to see their skill set, which I wasn't expecting them to show their skill sets so early on, because little spoilers here, you're not even supposed to see Obanai's skill sets towards the end. So when they showed the serpent breathing, I was like, oh, okay, so they're showing it pretty early. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But the big climax of that episode though was when you got to see the initial beginning of Muzan's Infinity Castle, which I thought that was really cool. They showed that right off the first episode. Bobby, what was your thoughts on that? Seeing Muzan's Infinity Castle?
That was pretty cool. Like I said, the design of it, just like of a maze room falling and everything, it's pretty nightmarish, honestly. But the design and just how they had it set up was amazing. So good use. So
yeah, I think we've seen some reels online where like people were actually doing their own like 3D build, and they were using mirrors to show the reflections of the Infinity Castle.
And that was pretty badass. Yeah, the way they did that with the lights and everything. So
yeah, I forgot who that artist was, but props to them, because like they just used little mirrors and it looked like an Infinity Castle, and it was awesome. But yeah, dude, like that was pretty much the first episode. You got to see like Muzan's castle. You got to see the Hashiras work together on a mission, and then the second episode that jumps right in, you see Tanjiro's recovering from Season 3. Zenitsu comes back from his mission, and then if you have not watched this season by this point, I don't know why you're listening to this, because Nezuko is talking again, and I thought this scene was hilarious, right? Zenitsu comes back, and he's like, he just like coming back from his mission, and then Zenitsu's like, welcome back, and he gets all excited, and then he's like, oh my gosh, you're learning how to talk for me. I can't believe you're talking already. And then she's like, welcome back, Inosuke,
Oh yeah.
That was hilarious, because she's like, welcome back, Inosuke, and the little flashbacks like Inosuke teaching her how to talk. I thought that was hilarious. Just like it's very typical of Inosuke to teach Nezuko. So I thought that was funny as hell. And then you see Zenitsu just getting mad. He's like, oh man, where's he at? I'm gonna go find him. But Tanjiro pretty much sets up his training arc at that point. He's in the hospital recovering because he beats the four upper moon. And I don't know if you knew this, Bobby, but the guy that he's talking to, like that medical guy, he's not medical, but like the helper in the Demon Slayer Corps, that voice actor, he's actually the voice of Saitama in Japanese dub.
Oh shit! No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had to look it up. I was like, why does his voice sound so familiar? It's Saitama. Something like that. The actor for Saitama is talking to Tanjiro about like he's pretty much like recapping the story with Tanjiro, like, oh, this is what's happening, this is what you missed out on. But essentially this season, again, season 4 is very short. It's 8 episodes. Essentially what it is just Tanjiro going through the Hashira training arc with the other Hashiras, because they're going to get to the point where they're going to fight Muzan, and they're making moves because they've defeated the Upper Moon 4 and Upper Moon 5. But again, we won't be going through like detail by detail. But Bobby, what are your thoughts on like the Hashira training? Because like they they train with Uzui to not Tomioka, but to Uzui, to Murichiro, to the other Hashiras. What were your thoughts on that training? Like just seeing Tanjiro go through those stages of training.
I'll be honest. The first time I watched it, I thought it was boring because it's just like it's a filler episode. Doesn't make it doesn't really compound too much. But then the second time I watched it, I'm actually glad they set it up the way it does, because it gave backstory on a bunch of the Hashiras that you didn't know, and then it showed their like basically how they train, and the level, basically comparing the levels to where you as a student to where they are, and just telling you, hey, you have to be at this level to kind of compete against these demons, and so it's pretty cool just seeing how strong they are, and just the story developing their strength, and it also dives into a little of their back history and everything too, why they are. So I the second time I watched it around, it made more sense, and I liked it a lot better.
Yeah, same for me. Cause like I think when we first watched it, I was living with you.
Yeah.
Me, you, and Lynn. We all watched it together the first time. So like watching it the second time through, like fully, and just like knowing what's happening, which I believe like the second time we watch it through, we kind of pick up on details we missed, right? So, excuse me. Like I watched this the second time through, and I actually appreciate this season a lot more. It didn't feel like filler, but Tanjiro initially trains. Once he's done recovering, he goes and trains with Uzui first, and Uzui's job is just to make sure these guys are conditioned.
Yeah.
To,
That's funny.
he made them run back and forth and do
Eat a
push-ups
lot.
and all that stuff. Yeah, he was really rough on them. And then even his wives were like, they're making dinner for them. Like, hey, if you don't eat this, you got to go and run. So,
Yeah.
so a lot of Uzui's training was just more like, you make sure you guys are conditioned, because if you guys aren't conditioned, you can't train. You can't, keep up with even the simplest demons.
Yep.
But I thought what was cool too was seeing Tanjiro and Uzui have like their little quick match that they had.
Oh yeah,
Where Tanjiro had to protect the other demon slayers. But seeing that growth of Tanjiro, and it's also cool seeing Uzui fight with one arm too. Because after his battle in season 2, like it was really cool to see that. But we're going to slight tangent here, though. Bobby, what did you think of Uzui, man? Because like seeing him this is post season 2. So what did you think of him coming back and helping them train?
Honestly, the first time I saw him, I was like, "Who is that?" I couldn't remember who it was, and then when you explained that, I was like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense. He did lose an arm and an eye and all that crap." And after that, and then when I saw his wife, I was like, "Okay, that makes more sense." But yeah, when I first saw him, I was like, "Oh man, who's this random guy that lost an arm is training them?" And it makes sense that it's showing that he's still able to contribute even after his retirement or getting out of it, and just training them too. And so it did, like I said, gives him kind of like a little final farewell or something. But I liked it, so it was a good episode. So I mean, like I said, it showed just like the basic intro of conditioning. You need to have this strength and this condition to even survive anything else. So
yeah, Uzui was one of my favorites, just because again, at season 2, they definitely showcased like this is how battles will be with upper moons. Like me and Bobby and our cousin Michael, we did a season 2 review a few years ago, and honestly, I went back and listened to that episode. We didn't even touch up on like that battle of like season 2, how good that finale was.
Oh yeah.
I went back and listened to that episode. Like, man, we talked about how good the season was. We didn't even touch up on that battle. So, seeing Uzui fight Yaratoro, man, oh my god, dude, I still go back and watch that fight like time to time, and dude, like if that was just in the anime, dude, imagine what we see in the upcoming movies.
Yeah, no, for real. That like even before we did this podcast, I just went and rewatched that fight just to kind of reassure myself to remember it. But it was a good fight. Like just all in all, it showed like the strength of like what level they're at compared to I forgot what level the demon there. I think it was like was he lower six or something, or it was either
Upper
4 or
Moon 6.
a 6, yeah. And
Yeah.
so it just kind of gave you an idea of what these levels are and how badass these demons are. So even they can get injured from it too. So
Yeah, it's dude, seeing that battle, man. Like honestly, like I talked with our cousin Michael about this. It's like the I guess what they showed in season 2 was like the urgency, the sense of urgency that they had. Like season 3 was good. Don't get it twisted. Season 3 was good, but it didn't have that sense of urgency that season 2 had. Because like when you're seeing season 2, it's like, dude, like they're winning, although they're losing, and then they're winning again, and then they're losing again, and so like it was so much back and forth. The only real sense of urgency that they had in season 3 was seeing Nezuko get burned by sunlight, but then she came back. So like that wasn't. I honestly don't believe it was as crazy as season 2. So to see that they're training to fight demons beyond that level, Upper Moon 6, shows the importance of like how important these demon slayers have to be strong. They have to be very strong, very conditioned. So seeing Tanjiro go through these stages, and then on top of that, just being like so optimistic about it, which would made it even more hilarious. Because as he's training, he's just like, "Okay, I'm gonna do it," So like he's doing the squats and push-ups, and like he's going through everything with a smile. Um, I thought that was hilarious. And so after he passes like Uzui's class, he goes to Morichiro, and Morichiro's teaching him how to do like I guess control or some sense like that. But he's so rough on the other students, and they're like, Tanjiro, why don't you tell him to ease up on us? Because man, he's so harsh on us.
yeah.
I thought that was funny. And you know what's funny too, Bobby, is like he's so mean to them, and then he saw Tanjiro, and his face lit up. He's like, "Oh, Tanjiro, you're here now,"
best friends. Yeah. No, because they've been through battle together, so he's already won them over. But that was pretty funny when that episode was going on, and then he was all like, "Oh, well, I'll battle you in their airplane competition at the end." And
Yeah.
they all started bonding over that.
Yeah, so essentially, Tanjiro just goes through these training sessions. He just starts breezing through these, right? Because after Murichiro, then he goes to Kanroji, who does the stretching, which I thought that was hilarious. Because like they're like, oh man, like it's gonna be pretty fun and light. Because she is such like a Sailor Moon type character. Very positive, outgoing.
Yeah.
So they're and then once he saw her like stretch out the other like members, she's like, "Oh shit!" Like that shit looks rough.
I mean, yeah, I remember that. He just like no, do it like this. Ah!
Yeah, she like put them in the splits and all that.
Yeah.
So that was pretty funny, and like she kept talking to Tanjiro about like pancakes and like we're gonna eat this and eat that. And him being a country bumpkin, he doesn't know what that is. So he's just like, all right, I'm just gonna go with the flow.
Yeah.
So after he passes Mitsuri's test, he goes to Obanai, which I thought that's hilarious too, because Obanai is like, so Tanjiro, I heard you had a great time with Mitsuri.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna like put you through a lot of misery through my training, because it's implied that that Obanai and Mitsuri are kind of a couple or kind of a thing. And then Tanjiro has to go through this test where he has to pretty much trade swords with Obanai without hitting his co-members of the Demon Slayer Corps.
Yeah,
because they're all tied up.
Yeah.
So he's like, and then he can, Tanjiro with this sense of smell, he can smell their fear. He's like, oh shit, I can't hit them.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like,
I hear what they're saying. They're saying no, hit me.
that whole test was funny too, because like he's like, I can't hit them, because like I can't do this, and it took him a while to train with Obanai. But Bobby, what are your thoughts on Obanai, man? Because like they're slowly opening up Obanai's character to the audience. So what was your thoughts on him?
I mean, I like them. Yeah, there's still more to see out of him, and I hope you see it in the movie because, like I said, I haven't read the manga, so I don't know exactly what happens. But yeah, I mean, I hope everything that they're showing just makes you more curious about his techniques and who he is and everything.
Yeah, serpent breathing's pretty unique, man. Like seeing him how he bends the sword and And not just that, but like his character, right? Why he's so rough on Tanjiro because he doesn't like that he's close to Mitsuri like that. So I thought that's pretty funny. Like that's the reason why like he doesn't like Tanjiro. But I can give a little bit of spoilers here. Like you'll appreciate Obanai towards the end of the show. Okay, I'll say that much because like I'm pretty sure in the movies they'll show you his skill set, but you don't appreciate him towards the end. And I'm glad that they saved his character towards the end because he's the one that like I believe I want to say this for manga readers because I read the manga. As I read the manga, I was like, who is this one? He's so mysterious to me. I'm glad that they saved him towards the end. And that's what I'll say about that. But Tanjiro pretty much combats him, lands a hit, and then he goes on to, I believe, the next one was Sanemi, the Wind Hashira. And that one was the one where he has the most issue with because once he gets there, he runs into Zenitsu and Zenitsu's crying to him like, "Dude, this guy's fucking crazy. We can't beat him.
Get out of here, yeah." You brought me back.
Yeah, Zenitsu's trying to run. He's trying to get out of there. And then they show you that pretty much Senemi's training is just like them trying to jump him and land a hit, and he just whooping all their asses.
Yeah.
And then the one part I love is like where Senemi's like, don't think that because you got this far that I acknowledge you or something like that. And then Tanjiro's like, I don't care, I don't acknowledge you either because you stabbed Nezuko.
Yeah.
So it gets under Senemi's skin. But pretty much that training is like it's rough, because you kind of get into the background of Senemi, and then also not just Senemi, but you learn that Senemi and Genya, they're brothers. They touched upon this on season 3, but then they go more into like their relationship as brothers, right? Because in this episode you see that that Genya's like, hey, Senemi, I got this far on my own. I can't do breaths, but then I eat demon flesh, and I was able to obtain these powers going through that kind of technique. And then Senemi tries to blind him, and then Tanjiro intervenes. But Bobby, what's your thoughts on that? Seeing that relationship between the brothers there, between Genya and Senemi.
It was very interesting, especially like their dynamic. Like they're both demon hunters and everything, but then it's just like it was very interesting take on it too. Like just it's your typical little brother, older brother type thing too. But the fact that they're having this little twist and trying to unite them and everything. So it's interesting. Still seeing where it goes.
Like, did you have any? I guess did you have any like thoughts on their relationship between like I know that in the last season 3, they explained why their relationship is strained. But did you have any thoughts on that too? Like seeing like did you have any thoughts on Genya or Senemi, like why there's like this divide between them?
No, I mean, I guess I didn't. Yeah, I didn't really think too much about their relationship and everything, like I said too. So it's just that fractured relationship between brothers,
Yeah, and because like what was sad too is like you got to see how Senemi reacted, right? How once he heard Genya say like I ate demon flesh, Genya was gonna get blinded by Senemi. And if it wasn't for Tanjiro intervening, he probably would have lost his sight because of Genya. And so Tanjiro intervenes, and then they end up fighting at the at the training grounds, and like Tanjiro hits Senemi, Senemi hits Tanjiro, and it just breaks out into this brawl. And then pretty much because of the brawl there, even the Demon Slayer, like the head of the Demon Slayer, is like, yeah, Tanjiro, you can't be near Senemi anymore. Like you guys got to get divided. You guys get broken up. You guys can't be near each other. So technically, Tanjiro passed because he punched. I believe he either punched or headbutt Senemi.
Yeah.
But then he can't train with him anymore because there's animosity between them. And then it gets to where Tanjiro goes and trains with the Rock Hashira or the Stone Hashira.
Stone Hashira, yeah.
And then that's where Inosuke is at, under the waterfall.
Freezing, yeah.
Yeah, which I thought was funny because Tanjiro saw Inosuke. He's like, oh, he's doing so good, and Inosuke passed out under the waterfall. So they had to like bring him out, And so like once because they're so cold from the waterfall, they have to jump in the hot stone and
Oh
then
yeah,
back and forth. Yeah,
to get their body back up to temperature.
yeah, it's a lot of back and forth. But Bobby, what's your thoughts on the Stone Hashira, man? Because he's the one that's essentially like the leader of the Hashira.
Yeah, no, I mean, I loved his story. It explains like everything, like how who he is, and how he is the way he is, and everything like that. His backstory and everything. Just learning that he was always blind, and then the fucking kid just had to, you know. But no, I liked his story a lot. Like I said, he was I think it was like 17 at the time whenever he got recruited, and then he became the Stone Hosher and everything. And then just seeing his training too just explains why he is who he is, the strength with all his strength and the stone and everything too.
He's so quiet, he's got like that Buddhist mentality. He's always
Yeah.
praying. He's very quiet. So like it's always, typical shonen trope, like those characters that are the most quiet end up being the most like powerful ones.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that he was the one that took in Genya as well, because I don't know if you remember, but like in the Mugen Train movie, like they showed Genya was with Himejima
Yeah.
training, so he's already like training Genya, and then on top of that he's training the Demon Slayers with his type of training, and so Zenitsu's like just crying and like and bitching like, I can't do this, man. This is too hard. Like
Yeah.
I want to leave. Zenitsu being Zenitsu, man. Like that's why I'm wearing his colors right now. Like he's so fucking funny in this episode. He just like, I can't do this, man. It's so hard. So he's like jumping in the river, back on the rock.
Yeah.
But it's funny seeing like how the character now that our main three are together in this training, like they're learning that, man, we went through all these steps to train, but now we have to learn how to use like our muscles and kind of like explode on the spot.
Yeah.
And then the purpose of their training was to move that boulder.
Yeah.
And they're like, how can we move that boulder? It's impossible. But then Himejima is like moving that boulder easily.
Yeah.
So you kind of see that, they had to be able to, not just with their breathing techniques, but they had to use their whole body to do it. And then Tanjiro, of course, being the main character, he moves that boulder, and because of that, I thought this scene was funny too, because once Tanjiro started moving that boulder, then Inosuke's like, I can't let him beat me, so I gotta do it. Inosuke starts moving it too. And then Inosuke starts moving it, then Zenitsu's like, oh my god, I can't do it, and then I wanted to get your thoughts on this too, because like as that's going on, Zenitsu's little sparrow or his bird comes in to tell Zenitsu something, and then as they're training, Tanjiro tries to check him on Zenitsu again, and Zenitsu's on that stone. You can see blood on his head. He's like very serious, and he's like, oh, okay, that's good. Keep on with your training. But seeing that, Bobby, what was your thoughts on Zenitsu? Seeing that his mindset is, obviously changed.
Yeah, so I had to look. I honestly looked it up, so I know what happened. But it did when I saw it, and I was trying to figure it out. Okay, something must have happened to kind of put him in the serious mode, because the whole we'll probably talk about the ending later. Even in that part, he was very serious too. So he's like in a serious state right now, where most of the time, every time he's training, he's bitching, complaining, crying, and everything like that. But now you just see him with this serious demeanor, where he's like, okay, I'm not here to play around anymore, type thing too. So.
Yeah, I remember like when I first read that in the manga, I was like, man, something serious must have happened, because he gets the letter from his bird, and he just like kind of doesn't brush off Tanjiro, but he just like very short answered, and it's very uncommon to see Zenitsu in that state of mind to be like, oh, it's okay, keep doing your thing, Tanjiro, and whatever, and they kind of just leave it off at that. And then as Tanjiro pretty much, being who he is, he passes all the Hashira training, and then he goes back up to meet up with the Hashiras, and then he sees Giyu and Senemi training and realizes that, oh man, I can see their movements, So what was your thoughts seeing that Tanjiro is essentially on Hashira level now?
It's pretty badass. Like, I mean, you kind of, it was kind of implied at the end part too, whenever they are charging in, but he has to be kind of up there anyways, because I mean, one, he's the main character, and then two, like it just kind of like me personally about him, even like the one episode I forgot, I think it was in the second one when he was go talk to you, and he was explaining why he's not the real water Hashira, and just
Yep.
that whole backstory and everything like that. But then what I found interesting was when he was like, "Oh yeah, I couldn't become the harsher water Hashira because I wanted to create my own dance and everything." And they said water is the base for it all and everything. So you can kind of see his progression from that water type technique to where he is right now, trying to master that one other technique. So.
Yeah, I think it was really cool to finally see Tanjiro like that was like the moment where you see like, okay, Tanjiro has leveled up.
Yeah.
Seeing, because if you remember going back to the movie, the Mugen Train movie, he couldn't even see
The
Rengoku
attacks.
in a Kaza fight.
Yeah.
So like, but now he's seeing two Hashiras train at it.
Yeah, and you can see their
And
movements,
right.
see what they're doing.
But to kind of backtrack a little bit here, because I believe this was anime only too, seeing that the Hashiras were not only just training the other Demon Slayers, they had their own training sessions going on.
Yeah, that was badass.
And then you got to see Obanai, Senemi, and Murichiro train together.
Yeah.
So what was your thoughts seeing that?
It was badass. Like I said, just seeing the levels that they're on, like you have to see the difference between when they're training and newbies versus Harsha and where they're at and everything. So it's awesome to see that they put an emphasis on like how strong they are and what they can really do.
Because I believe this is anime only, because I don't remember seeing this in manga, but like seeing that Murichiro, who's only like 13, 14, he's keeping up with Senemi and Obanai by himself. And then I thought that was funny too, like his little crow is so sassy too, that she was talking shit to them, and then you can see Obanai like attack the crow, like shut up,
Shut
so,
up,
so I thought that was funny seeing that. But it shows you like too, like not only are the Hashira like training the other members, but they had to keep up with their training to stay on top as well for their conditioning and their training, because everyone's involved in this training. And speaking of Hashiras too, because we got to see Giyu's story, and then we got to touch up on Himejima's story too. So we'll touch up on the Stone Hashira too. Like, what did you think of Himejima's story, man? Because like we see that he was a blind, he was born blind, but he's also like a monk that watched orphans, and then you got to see like what happened to him to become the next, I guess, a Demon Slayer. Seeing his backstory being another tragic one in Demon Slayer. What was your thoughts seeing that?
I mean, it sucked. Like I said, that was the one where the demon kid allowed the demon to come in and eat them, and he traded their places. But then he got framed for murdering the kids and all that shit. Man, it's just sad that happened to him. And
fuck them kids.
Yeah, fuck them kids, man. Like, dude, I try to save your life, and you do this to me. I see why he went blind, man. So pretty sad.
Honestly, like, it's funny when you think back about like the Demon Slayer stories. Like, everyone has a tragic backstory. Not just the Hashiras or Demon Slayers, but also the demons, right?
Demons, yeah.
But then like, you see like Mitsuri, who's like, she's a big dummy like Tanjiro, and her backstory was that she just was too strong. She didn't have a tragic backstory. She had she had good parents. She just couldn't get married, so that's why she had to be Hashira. But seeing Himejima's story, man, like that one was sad too. Just like because he was protecting these orphans, and then they all took off, and then like the little girl, the last one that survived, she was like being a 4-year-old child, you don't know what you're seeing. So like he got in trouble based off of her words, and if it wasn't for Ubiyashiki, then he would have been executed. But I also thought it was great too. Like, I'm glad that they showed that this scene too, like where when he talked to Tanjiro, and he was like, Tanjiro, I accept you because you saved the Swordsmith village. And then Tanjiro corrected him, like, no, it wasn't me. It was Nezuko that did it. Nezuko made that choice. And then he started, Himejima being the monk the Buddhist that he is, he sensitive to, like, he started crying. He's like, oh my God, like that's even better because she made that choice.
Yeah.
But it just shows you that, this guy's a soft dude, but man, that guy's which we'll talk later. He's a fucking monster in this show, man. let's talk about Tomioka, man. Giyu, dude, his story. What did you think of his story, man? Seeing that he's not considered. He doesn't consider himself a Hashira.
Hashira, yeah. No, I
Yeah.
mean it was really good in how it tied in at the to back to the beginning where Tandra was doing the stone training and everything like that,
Mhm.
and it freaked him out that he like, oh, he know how does he? This is impossible for him to know this person. They had never met or anything, and Tandra just telling him everything to even that line is like, oh, tell him not to forget or something like that. And that's what turned Tandro into like wanting to or not Tandro Gyu to join the training process and everything too. But no, I kind of get where he's coming from because yeah, he did pass the test, but it was just more of a running out the time and hiding, and then you're passing the test. So yeah, I can see where his pride is hurt on that. But I mean, he got where he was with hard training too, so I don't blame him too. So
Yeah, I think like aside from how Giyu feels, you do see that Giyu is gifted because
Yeah.
he created his own form with water breathing.
yeah,
He just doesn't feel like he's a part of the Hashira because, again, he doesn't feel like he passed because he didn't technically he passed, but like he didn't do anything.
yeah,
Sabito is the one that saved him, and Sabito saved everyone, and because Sabito saves everyone, Sabito died.
yeah.
And it leaves the audience with this feel like, man, imagine if Sabito survived, he would be the next Water Hashira.
Hashira,
But I'm glad that they pretty much brought that story full circle, and then you see like I don't know if you know this too, Avi, but Sabito is actually voiced in Japanese dub. He's voiced by the same actor as Eren.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so like he's for me as a fan of Yuki Kaji, I'm like, dude, that's even better. Like I like his character even more. But it's very similar to like Obito and Kakashi, right? Because like they, one friend sacrifices themselves for the other just to see them move on, and you see that how Giyu is like, man, Giyu carries this burden of like, I'm nothing because because I was saved every time. I don't deserve this title of Hashira. And then you see that like because of that thinking, it strains his relationship with the other Hashira members because in the meeting, Sanemi is like, hey, you can't just like leave this meeting and do whatever you want. You're a Hashira, you got to stay in this meeting. And Tomioka like, was about to leave. If it wasn't for the Stone Hashira, he would have left the room already. And it's just funny because like not only does he think that, he's very socially awkward.
Yeah.
And so like the whole time Tanjiro is trying to be friends with him, like Tomioka, like he's like reaching out to him.
Yeah, he's like annoying him and everything.
It's like if I out eat the soba noodles with you, would you come back
the
and
challenge,
train?
If I'll eat you, he goes, if you eat this last bowl, this is my last bowl.
And then on top of that, after Giyu loses to Tanjiro, and then they realize that Sanemi likes the red bean pastry, and then Giyu's like, I can tell you like red bean, the red bean
pastry,
stuff. Like, do you want some too? So, and then Sanemi's like, what the fuck? So it's just funny seeing their interaction because Giyu is so awkward. He's just like, I guess you like that stuff, so maybe we can be friends if I get you more.
I give you some of that.
But because of seeing their relationships build, and then seeing that like, okay, Giyu is technically not a Hashira, but he is on Hashira level. Sanemi gets annoyed, he leaves, and then he catches on that, oh man, we're being spied on by the upper moon, the new upper moon 4, which is the girl with the musical instrument. He catches on to that, and then throughout the show, you kind of see like the ending song where Muzan's like walking, right? I don't know if did you watch the ending song, like the whole thing of it, or did you skip it?
I think I watched it.
Because it kind of just shows like Muzan walking
slow,
and then it connects it to like the last episode where Muzan reaches to the Ubuyashiki mansion. He gets there, and then like again this crazy melodic rock music starts playing. You see the smoke come off of him. Shout out to my boys Brandon from Animation Destination. They made this point which I didn't realize. He said that like the reason why there's it's not like, I don't know if it's confirmed, but he said that because there's smoke, it's because like they have the wisteria flowers all over the mansion, and it's burning Muzan, which is why there's smoke everywhere. I don't know if you
I
thought
know. I
that
didn't
too,
catch
but
on to that.
I didn't
No.
think that.
Yeah,
I didn't
not
think that.
catch on to that. So
Yeah, but like shout out to Animation Destination for pointing that out, because like when I rewatched it, I was like, holy shit, that makes sense though. Like because those flowers are like technically burning Muzan, but because it's Muzan, it doesn't bother him. But
yeah.
he gets to Ubuyashiki. They start talking about life and death.
The
Like
backstory, everything.
yeah, and then you learn that like Ubuyashiki's he's a like a long ancestor of the Ubuyashiki clan, and Ubuyashiki's like, because of you, this is why we're sick, and this is why we don't make it far in life, because you are the curse in our family, our bloodline. And Muzan just like, I don't care, man. Like, where the hell's that to go?
Yeah,
Just like,
ain't my problem.
Right, I'm trying to walk in the sun right now. I don't give a hell about you guys. But what did you think of this conversation between Muzan and Ubuyashiki? Because this is essentially like this is the last episode, and the first half of this episode of the finale, where they're just engaging in dialogue. There's no action yet, but like they're just talking about like their differences in belief.
No, I liked it a lot. Like I said, it dove into like the history and telling how they kind of touched on how they're related and what basically what all this is going on for and what it's going for. And they basically are like threatening each other back. They're going back and forth with each other, threatening, "Oh, I'm going to kill you," and "No, I'm weak right now." And like you said, they go into why they are the way they are and their families are weak. So I mean, it just leads to a climactic scene, which I'm pretty sure we'll talk about here next in a little bit. But it's a good conversation between the two because, like I said, it just completes their story. So
yeah, like you gotta see that like Muzan is desperate to stay alive, right? Because like it took him so long to get to find some demon like Netsuko, and I don't know if you felt this way, but for me as a viewer, like it just showed that like Muzan doesn't really care about the other demons too. Like he's just like his only mission is to find the blue flower lily, and then like it makes you think like, okay, so he doesn't care about anything else but that.
yeah,
And Muzan, or not Muzan, but Ubuyashiki's like, we've battered you for thousands of years, and we're finally coming on top here. And whether you kill me or my family, it doesn't matter, because we care about life, and we're gonna always pass this on to our next generation or to our demon slayers. And you're someone who's so afraid of death, like he's kind of like undermining Muzan in that sense. We're like, we're not scared of death, but you're scared of death, and that's why you're going all out of your way to stay alive. While us, we don't care if we die, and then like it just kind of picks up from there, and then like you see like the tension build up, and then you see Ubuyashiki's daughters playing with the little ball outside, and Muzan's kind of like,
what the hell?
So what the hell's going on? So like it's just funny seeing that like Muzan being as powerful as he is, he didn't really like consider anything as a threat at Ubuyashiki with him and his wife and his kids. He's just like, all right, well, if you're done talking, I'm gonna kill you. And right as he says that, that's when the mansion blows up.
Yeah.
And dude, the animation for that was so good, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
it was really
so
good. At first, when I first watched it, I thought he blew it up, and then when it wasn't until his body plopped over and him started explaining, I was like, "Oh, okay, that makes more sense."
It's kind of like Rick and Morty. Suicide Pact.
Yeah, it's back to life.
And side tangent here, I can't wait till we talk about Rick and Morty, because like, dude, we're gonna have a grand time talking about Rick and Morty. But yeah, pretty much Suicide Pact. He blows up the mansion with Muzan in it, and on top of that, they have like little spikes and every little thing to kind of to slow down Muzan, right? And then Muzan just like, dude, I didn't think you'd have that in you to blow yourself up like that, man.
Yeah, you killed you took your family out with you. Did they know?
Yeah.
Are you an asshole? Like, what'd you do?
So Muzan's like pissed. He's like, man, I underestimated this motherfucker. He
Yeah.
blew himself up. Not on top of that, not just him, but his family. And then they added like other weapons to slow down my regeneration.
Yeah.
And as he's regenerating, he's just like so angry with them. I was like, dude, how did I let this guy get away with this? And he compares him to like a snake or something, right? He's like, man, this he had all this stuff planned, and he just thinking in his head as he's regenerating. And then you see Tamayo put her hand in his belly, and he's like, "Oh, Tamayo, you're using." Oh no, not even that. You see the little flesh seeds.
Yeah.
The demon art flesh seeds
But
pop out.
Stabs them. Yeah.
Yeah, and it freezes them in that spot. But Bobby, did you catch this though? Because like that technique, it was from that dude that he turned into the demon when he first met Tanjiro. Yeah. So it was from that guy, which I thought like, dude, like Muzan, you missed out on a potential great upper moon right there, because that blood demon art is crazy good.
Yeah.
Because not only did it like pierce through Muzan, it went through his blood vessels and grew more thorns.
Yeah.
So like
on top of spikes and everything.
Yeah, that was crazy, man. Seeing that. And so like he's stuck in place. Tamayo stabs her, puts her arm in him, and she's like, "Oh, you realize what you did? You absorbed this potion that we concocted that it's gonna turn you into human."
Yeah.
And pretty much he's like, "Oh, so you're using the blind technique, to the demon art blind technique to cover yourself." Yeah, and then like which I thought this part was crazy because he makes fun of her. It's like, why are you doing this? Because it was you that killed your family. It wasn't me. It was you.
Yeah.
And so they kind of touch up on Tamayo's background, where she's like, I only did this to see my family or my children grow old, but then because of you, I killed them. And then like he pretty much like, I don't know if you caught this little detail, but like he carves her head with his thumbnail and then stabs her eye, which rewatching that scene, dude, it's pretty disgusting seeing how Muzan does that.
Yeah.
And then he pretty much mocks her for like, it's your fault. You're the reason why this happened. And then she's like, it doesn't matter. You're absorbing this potion. Himejima, it's your turn now. And then you see the Stone Hashira. Yes, the Stone Hashira comes in. He has all the blind tags on him. And he like has that kunai and chain, or the mace with the chain with the little axe. And he whips it at Muzan, knocks his head clean off, and Muzan just grows it right back.
Yeah.
And they go into this little flashback where Ubuyashiki's like, hey, I'm only telling you this because the other Hashira would not agree to it. But you, Himejima, you're in charge after I die. You have to get the other Hashira amped up, because we didn't touch up on this, but the beginning of the season, they kind of talk about like the Demon Slayer marks. And the marks have to be like, there's a criteria that has to be met with those marks. And if I die, that should help inspire the other Hashiras to be like, hey, this is what we need to do. This is going to get them mad enough to get to that mark. So essentially that's what it is. It's to help motivate the other Hashira to get their Demon Slayer marks to hold off Muzan. But when Himejima knocks off his head and Muzan grows it back, and then like Muzan does his black blood technique, and then you see Himejima do his technique, dude, oh my god, man. And this is why I wanted you to go back and rewatch Uzui's fight with Gyataro, because seeing that they did this in this short little span of time compared to Uzui's fight, what was your thoughts seeing that comparison? Like, this is how they're going to be fighting in the movie, essentially.
Yeah, no, I mean both those scenes were good. Like I said, I'm glad you did let me go back or told me to go rewatch it, because man, it was badass. And because the thing I loved about that fight too, it's still when Tanjiro's learning, and you see him run away scared. When the demon's about to kill him, and he's like breaking his fingers, and you see like the level where he was at from there to where basically where they're gonna be at the end of this movie and everything too. But no, both fight scenes are amazing, and like I said, it's just the details they have and just how they fight and everything.
Yeah, it's, dude, I've rewatched that like that ending for the final episode for season 4 like so many times this week. I still get goosebumps thinking about it and just seeing that like, man, this is just a teaser of what's to come with the movies. And we're not only getting one, we're getting 3 fucking movies with nonstop action, man.
They're
It's
gonna
gonna
be
be
milking
crazy.
that, man.
It's gonna be crazy, I'm telling you. And pretty much, Muzan attacks Himejima. He's defending himself, and then you see Sanemi jump in because Sanemi catches on the hey, there's
Something going
we've
on.
been caught,
Yeah.
and so Sanemi goes to the mansion first. He's like, who the fuck are you? You're the reason why this happened, and Sanemi's loyal to Ubuyashiki, so
Yeah.
he's already upset.
Yeah.
And then you see all the Hashira come in, and then that's when Himejima's like, hey, this is Muzan. You can't kill him even if you knock his head clean off. And then like all the Hashira, like they're taking in that data, like, so this is Muzan. And then Tanjiro right away off the bat draws his sword. And he's like, like Tanjiro is like on site. They're like, this is him, this is that motherfucker, And then all the Hashira come in, do their techniques, and oh man, dude, I love this scene, dude. I love it.
Was it like that in the manga too?
Yes, each panel showed you like the Hashira coming in, rushing in with their technique, and then of course Muzan being Muzan, he gets the upper hand, and that's when the Upper Moon 4 she unlocks the floor and drags everyone into his realm.
Yeah.
And Bobby, okay, before I talk about it, what was your thoughts seeing this scene when everyone got dragged into the Infinity Castle?
I mean, honestly, even before that scene when they're running up and charging in and just hyping each other up, that scene was so badass. And so, right when you think they're gonna hit them, just all it's slow. It does the slow motion and then the little blow, and then the floor drops. So badass, and you just see them all falling and trying to, falling and grab onto anything to get onto steady ground. But just the way they ended it right there too is just perfect too. Like it leaves you with the cliffhanger about where everybody's gonna be at and everything.
Because like as they're falling, the camera shifts to like Inosuke, to the Demon Slayer that's doing like security watch. And so everyone's just like falling into Muzan's world, and I love this part when you see the crows. And the crows are flying. Dude,
around,
that camera work was so good because the crows are essentially trying to map out Muzan's lair.
Yeah.
And then like you see Inosuke fall, and then like he's excited, so he starts flying out, and then you see Genya flying around. Genya's like, what the hell's going on? And then Kanao is holding onto someone's hand, like, hey, don't worry. And then it shows Zenitsu, which I thought his entrance was the best because like you see his sword falling down, Zenitsu grabs it, and Zenitsu is not sleeping. He's awake as he's falling, which I don't know. I'm a big music nerd, so like when the music and the buildup of the music was like going on, I was like, I was geeking out. I still geek out seeing that and seeing that Zenitsu's ready for war. What are your thoughts on seeing Zenitsu not being asleep as he's falling into the Infinity Castle?
Honestly, that's what I was like trying to figure out what was going on. I even asked Lynn about it too. I was all like, I'm assuming something happened to him. Why is he all serious still and everything? And she was just all like, yeah, something happened. I can't remember. And then I was like, I'm gonna guess this. And she's like, yeah, that's what happened. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
So yeah, Zenitsu's ready for war, and then it shifts to the Hashira falling down. You see Shinobu, and you kind of get an idea of who's with who.
Yeah.
So Shinobu falls, and then you see Mitsuri with Open Eye, and then you see Morichiro with Himejima, and then you see Sanemi on his own, and then you see Tanjiro and Giyu fall together. But Tanjiro lands on the platform, and then I love this part because Tanjiro and Muzan's talking shit to each other. He's like, I'm gonna kill you, Muzan. And Muzan's like, then do it, bitch. Like, do it. See what happens. They're just talking shit to each other. And so, like, I don't know if you caught this too, but Muzan's also the voice for Iruka from Naruto.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so like whenever I see that, I'm like, dude, this is what Iruka would be like if he was a villain. It just moves. So it's just seeing them talk shit to each other, and then it ends with Tanjiro falling down into the Infinity Castle, and that's pretty much season 4, man. Like that. Look, the build up to this episode was so worth it because when you get to the finale, it's just crazy from there. And on top of that, we got the movie coming up. But Bobby, what's your thoughts, man? Seeing everything build up to this finale where like we're in the end game kind of moment. What was your thoughts? Kind of like just seeing all of that happen.
I mean, like I said, this season it started off slow for me. I didn't really get it. Like I said, I thought it was just a filler. The first episode and the last episode are probably my favorite ones. But like I said, once you rewatch it and you kind of understand what's going on, it's actually one of my. It's probably not my least favorite, but it's something that you would still enjoy watching. Like I said, the second time I watched it, I'll probably go back and rewatch it again just to see if I missed anything. But it had a purpose, and I loved what it did, driven all the Hashras, their background, who they are, personalities and whatnot. And then just kind of that ending fight scene with what's going on. And then just even leading up to the trailer that we had for the new movie too. It's just it's badass. So
yeah, so the trailer dropped not too long ago. Based on this recording, it dropped about like a few days ago over the weekend. But when this episode drops, it'll be about almost 2 weeks. So essentially, the trailer picks up off of what happened from the end of season 4. You know, you see Obanai, you see Mitsuri falling down, you see Sanemi on his own, and then they tease up with the Upper Moons. You know, you see Shinobu fighting Doma, Upper Moon 2, and then you see Zenitsu running across another demon, you know, and then the ending of that trailer, of course, Tomioka, and then you see Tanjiro running to Akaza. What are your thoughts, Bobby? I want your thoughts first before I talk about mine. So
I am curious who they're going to be all fighting. Like I said, I haven't read the manga, so I don't know what's going to be going on. They just showed some of the bosses that they're going to be fighting. So from what I've heard about this, is there's a lot of things that's going to happen. A lot of bodies are going to fall. So I'm just curious about that. So I don't know. I genuinely do not know what's going to happen. So
yeah, so like I don't know. I know what happens because I read the manga, but man, you know,
do you know where they're going to end it?
I don't know. That's the question, right? Because it's a trilogy. So I don't know if you remember Salem, but me and her, we talked about like, are they doing each movie based on each fight, or are they going to divide it out like in the manga? Because in the manga, everything's happening simultaneously. Yes, but then movie platform, they could just focus on each fight.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I personally, I don't know. But based on how this trailer was, we might get that treatment where everything's happening simultaneously.
Okay.
Maybe movie 1 would focus on Tanjiro versus Akaza, and then movie 2 and movie 3 would focus on the other fights.
Okay.
But who knows? Who knows what happened? Because this movie doesn't drop until September. I got it like bookmarked on my phone and on my laptop to when the tickets drop. So I'm just waiting for the ticket to drop to get those tickets.
Yeah.
But dude, what a phenomenal trailer, man, and to hype up season 4. This is why I wanted to record season 4 as soon as I could, because like the trailer dropped just in time and the movie's coming out soon too. So I can't wait for this movie, man. And just that quality of the trailer, like seeing how much money Ufotable has put into this project, like it looks even better than when they did Mugen Train.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Dude, it's crazy to see the quality difference, man. And I don't know. I can't say it enough, man. Demon Slayer, yes, it's a very typical shonen story, but you cannot deny, man, like this show, Demon Slayer, has taken the world by storm. And if it wasn't for Ufotable taking on this manga, I don't know, man. Like the animation carries this show so much. It's crazy.
It does. The fight scene, the story, the animation, everything. So
yeah. Man, like I don't know, man. I'm so excited about this. I wish I was still in Texas with y'all, man, because I would have bought tickets for me, you, and Lynn to go watch Demon Slayer.
Oh no, yeah, for sure, dude, for sure. So, but we're probably gonna watch it too. So probably
Yeah, I can't wait, dude. I cannot wait. And plus, I talked with Belky. Belky said he's going to Anime Expo this weekend. So they might catch some Demon Slayer stuff if they can catch some Demon Slayer stuff.
Oh, is that this weekend? Right. Yeah, they are going.
Yeah, that's this weekend. But I told him it's gonna be packed, so he better start fighting in line.
Yeah.
But they've got a lot of new releases and exclusives and stuff like that. So who knows what he might see? But like I said, man, it's gonna be a crazy weekend this weekend with Anime Expo. On top of that, man, dude, I honestly, like I said, I can't get enough of Demon Slayer season 4, man. Like it like you said, it's a slow burn, but man, it builds up so well to the movies that are going to be coming out. And honestly, I don't know how you'd feel, but I would be okay with the rest of this show being released in movie format instead of seasons.
Yeah, no, I mean that would honestly just make it easier. It's just that now you gotta wait like what, probably 6 years before it's finished.
Yeah, every other year, and then knowing what they did with Mugen Train, they probably release
Break
it, like re-release it
apart.
as a
A movie.
anime format,
Yeah.
episodic. Which I hope they don't, but if they do, then it's whatever because they're making money anyways.
Yeah. People are gonna watch it. So
Yeah, but man, dude, I can't wait, man. Like you haven't you've read a little bit or you saw a little bit of what's gonna happen, but without spoiling anything. What are your what do you think is gonna happen in the Infinity Castle overall? What do you think is gonna happen? Because again, like I said, this is like the end game Infinity War part of Demon Slayer. We're pretty much going towards the end. So, what are your thoughts on what's going to happen?
I mean, obviously they're gonna have to fight Muzan at the end. I personally think they're gonna win. I haven't read anything of it, so I don't know what's gonna happen. But I know from what people have told me, it's just a ton of bodies are gonna fall and everything gets fucked up pretty bad. So that's why I'm like, okay, I don't want to anticipate anything. Like I know of some characters that are gonna die, but I don't know how or anything. So I'm just waiting for that. So.
Okay, we'll leave it at that because I think if we say any more, then folks are like, "Oh my God,
Oh God,
spoilers!"
they gotta go read it. So that's why I'm trying not to like read anything either. So because I want to be caught off guard by it. So
if anything, I'm very. If I didn't read the manga, I coming from like a person who's read the manga, like I'm a little bit jealous because you guys get the anticipation and get to see the animation like firsthand, and like get to see what happens to these characters. While me, yes, I know what happens in the story, but like that sensation is different, right? Because like I know what happens. I'm not gonna be like, oh my God, holy shit,
oh
you know.
my,
So
they killed him.
so, but still, man, like I can't wait for this for the movies, man. Like on top of that, like we're getting Demon Slayer, and then in the fall or not fall, but in Halloween time, we're getting Chainsaw Man too. So like it's gonna be crazy movies at the end of this year, man. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, there's a lot of good movies coming out.
I think essentially that's pretty much it for this episode, man. I think we touched up on mostly everything. Like we kind of talked about the important parts. Was there anything else you wanted to add on or thoughts you had on Demon Slayer season 4 or the movies?
No, I'm good on my end, man. A good season all in all. Like I said, once you get back into it, rewatch it a second time and understand it. It's a better episode. So
Yeah. So for anyone if you made it this far in this episode, go back and rewatch season 4. Definitely go rewatch and catch stuff that you missed out on. And I'm glad that we got to talk about this because this has been on my mind for the longest, like being on the hiatus and then coming back and finally doing this, man, to talk about this. And again, just by coincidence that the movie trailer dropped when it did. I was like, all right, there's no way we're like, this is perfect timing to do this. So I'm glad that you jumped on the podcast to talk about Demon Slayer season 4, man. So I really appreciate that.
Oh no, appreciate it. And it's always fun to be on. So thank you, Ricky.
Yeah. So again, for folks, go watch Demon Slayer before the movie drops in September. Go catch the other reviews that me and Bobby did. Like I think me and Bobby we talked about Attack on Titan before. We talked about the manga. We talked about season 2 for Demon Slayer. We've done a bunch of other topics as well, but then as we count down to episode 200, me and Bobby will be doing a countdown for episodes for seasonal episodes for Rick and Morty, which I'm excited for. I can't wait till we do that, dude. That's why I'm trying to kick these episodes out so we can talk about Rick and Morty because Rick and Morty is gonna be so fun talking about it with you, man. Because like all the time when I lived with you in Texas, man, that's all we watched was Rick and Morty.
What is that all day?
So I can't wait. But yeah, man. So I'm glad. I can't wait for when we talk about Rick and Morty. But go out and check out Demon Slayer if you haven't yet. Check out the previous episodes of me and Bobby, man, because Bobby's always been the one that's come in and saved some of these episodes as well. But again, thank you for doing this, man. I'm so glad that we got to talk about Demon Slayer. Yeah, man. Like, anything else you want to add on before we wrap things up?
No, dude, I think I'm good over here on my end. So
Okay. So yeah. So again, make sure you like, share, subscribe to Spoiler Force Podcast. You can follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and other podcasting platforms. Follow Spoiler Force on social media as well. You'll catch me, posting about random things on Instagram and Facebook. So yeah, follow me there. So this is pretty much it, episode 184. Thank you guys so much, and have a great day.